This has been a long overdue video and something that really needs to be addressed because there's some just very, very basic things that it seems like a lot of people really miss. Um, and it comes down to a document that I showed on the thumbnail, okay? The Constitution. And so many people want to hold themselves in a position of being a party to this document. Okay. And people need to comprehend um, a couple things. And I can tell when people are talking about this how much they've really learned, how much they've really researched, how much they've studied, and actually what areas of law, for instance, they've studied. And every company, every corporation has what they call a compact, also known as a constitution. Um, they may have a charter. A charter is established through legislation, whether it's Congress or through the state, and a charter may establish agencies and things like that. Okay, but even your favorite store you go to, Walmart, for those that go there, um, Walmart's got a constitution. People can go look it up. It is the founding document that establishes the company and what it does, how it operates, and things like that. Okay. And people need to realize that regarding the Constitution, whether it's of the United States of America, for the United States of America, doesn't matter. That word of and for that drives me up the wall. Because either way, it's for a private company, it's for a single company. Okay. And you're not a party to it, you're not part of it. Um, these gentlemen that did this pledged their honor, their loyalty, their sacred honor even to each other when they did this. And it says right in the preamble, it was done for themselves and their posterity, which means their offspring. Okay? Not you and me, not a group of people 250 years later or something like that. No. This was just establishing a company. And so, for people that want to go after them, and I see this not just in the United States or United States of America, this is really set up the same in all the countries underneath the IMF. Okay? One of the things that really woke me when I started researching things, yeah, fun with the hair, was I was looking at like the 1930s restructuring under Roosevelt. And in my search, some of the things that started popping up were kind of interesting because I was getting information from like England. England was going through something very similar at the time. Um, Australia. Australia was going through something very similar at the time. Just about the same exact time, so was Canada. Okay? So what did I see? What was I observing? To me, I was observing the beast of a one world government lifting its head out of the seas of many waters. All right? And starting to show itself for who and what it really was. And, and to go after them, I'm sorry, there's no standing to state a claim. Um, unless you belong to that company, unless you're part of maybe the posterity of that company or an officer of that company, you really have no place to state a claim. And that's all about status. Status provides you a position to state a claim upon which relief may be granted, which they would use under federal rule, what, 12v6, I think. Um, but many people try all different things regarding this. Um, uh, there's, I think, what is it? Is it in the 14th Amendment? They have to agree. If you want to sue them, they have to agree for you to sue them. Amazing, huh? Wouldn't that be cool if we could have something like that? Um, and my answer though has always been just to abjure the realm. You know, This goes back to law of nations. Law of nations, your status according to law of nations would be followed by whatever your father's status was. That's what you are as well. Okay. Personally, I have no evidence of what my father's status was. Anything I would probably be able to produce would be nothing but hearsay, so it'd be inadmissible for anything. But in the elections, it spoke of the right to quit. Okay, reaching the bookshelf. Grab the Law of Nations. Okay, this is a big book, almost 700 pages long. Okay, but if you go right to the beginning of it, you will find the preliminaries of the Law of Nations. And the preliminaries of the Law of Nations is much shorter, obviously, but it will wrap your mind really around how nations are established, their relationships with each other, their relationships with their inhabitants, the things they can do and can't do. And it's very interesting, for people that think, well, what's the Law of Nations got to do with anything? Well, if you claim to be citizen, constituent, what do you want to call it, the Law of Nations is mentioned in Article 1, Section 8 of Nations. That's really, to me, interesting. It's the only place that I have really found where there's any teeth in the Constitution. Um, as far as whether it's followed or not, there's so many people say, oh, they're acting unconstitutionally and things like that. Well, I don't see anything really in the Constitution where there's any teeth or any crime or what could happen to anyone that is acting unconstitutionally. And the framers were actually very brilliant. Um, and I can tell a lot of times when people mention different things how much they've really read it and paid attention. Because as far as acting unconstitutionally, there's the sweeping clause in the Constitution. I think that might have been part of what Patrick Henry was talking about when he said that the Constitution would give powers greater than a king to the president. Something to think about. Um, and at the same time, I mentioned 14, I think it was also in the Bill of one. There's like three places where it talks about the right of, for instance, the right of assembly. And the Supreme Court of the United States has ruled that private associations fall under that. That is part of right of assembly. And if you look at all of the different departments of the U.S. government, um, I remember looking at it and it quickly reminded me of reading what Quigley talked about. Quigley said that in the future, everything would be controlled by rings within rings, okay, or circles within circles. Didn't quite know what that meant, but I kind of filed it away in the back of my head, and sure enough, it popped up when I started finding this. Because you'll find that every department is its own little ring, it's its own private association. You've got the Judges Association, the Clerk of Courts Association, you've got the Prosecutors Association. You've got associations within Congress, associations within your different committees, even for your county. These are all those little rings within rings. And what Quigley said was it didn't matter if one of them got taken down because the members would all also be part of other associations. And so as a whole, everything would stand. And I know I was going to say, many people have tried many things to try and attack them, um, whether it's in the United States of America or the United States or Canada, New Zealand, Australia, England, and they're all kind of met with the same problem. And this goes back to what I said about the founding document that created the company, the Constitution, is that they don't have standing. They don't have status. They're unable to state a claim. Okay? And I've seen people do this, for instance, through arbitration. One of my biggest questions with arbitration was, wait a minute, um, where is the original contract in which arbitration was listed as a partial remedy or a complete remedy? Can you provide that original contract? Because if you want to go in the U.S. and you want to go to the Constitution, you're not going to find anything about arbitration in there. Okay? And at the same time, when you had the arbitration, did the other party have an equal part to play in choosing who the arbitrator was? Because that's a requirement for arbitration as well. Or did you just do it solely on your own? You know, when it really comes down to it, this is what it's about. It's about abjure the realm. That's what I've always said. And to abjure the realm means you leave. You don't come back. That doesn't mean you leave and you go to jurisdiction and file a lawsuit back against somebody else because you think you got harmed. You know what? Listen, the courts don't look at things the way you and I think they do. They don't look at things from a point of view of morality, okay, or right and wrong. What do the courts do? The courts are basically enforcing contracts, whether it's a contract between two parties or it is a social contract, such as do not kill, okay? That's what they are doing. They don't care about right or wrong. They don't care if somebody's feelings got hurt. I'm sorry. The only thing you can do is abjure the realm. And like I said, in Law Nations, it talks about the right to quit. You know, I say in this day and age, since they've made everything digital, it means quit using the crap. You know, what did Scripture say? Scripture said to give unto Caesar, render unto Caesar's. You know, that kind of tells you you don't have anything to worry about. It's that simple. Um, People need to realize, and I've had questions from people that have asked me, what would be the benefit of, say, to abjure the realm? You need to realize that an entire nation, an entire people are held by the actions of the leaders of that society or that nation. If you don't think that's true, fine. But go ask Muammar Gaddafi of Libya. You know? Go to Iraq and ask the people there what happened with Saddam Hussein and what happened to their people. Those nations are now bending a knee to a different jurisdiction that has taken over. Why? Because their leaders either did do or did not do what another power thought should have been done. You are accountable to the people you bend your knee to. And I guess I'll close with that. We need to pay close attention as to who we bend our knee to. Good night, everybody. If I can find a button.